There's my play and there's 4 other plays. They should attend because one, it's time to get together again. It's communal. You'll see people who are like you, who love theater, who love entertainment, who love being in that space, and you're able to come together and be together. That's the first thing. The second thing is you are helping create the theater of tomorrow. You know, you come to the reading, you hear it, you give your feedback. Hopefully you're entertained, but also hopefully you are getting things out of the piece that might show you some things about yourself. But then in the feedback you give, it also helps us as writers, directors, actors get better and maybe be more effective if need be. And also, the more successful the readings are, the more apt they are to be produced. So if you like what you hear and you let the theater know about it, maybe you see a production next time and not a reading. So the people who come to the theater live have a lot of authority. They have a lot of power over what they see going forward on stage. Hey, my name is Khari Wyatt, playwright. And if you want to learn more about my play Speakeasy and Antaeus.org, check out this conversation. Originally, Speakeasy started out as an audio play. Antaeus Theater Company asked for pitches from writers in their writers lab for short audio plays, that took place in various area codes in the city, and as a way to produce content during the pandemic, but also to let people know different facets of Los Angeles where they might not have ever visited or history they might not have known about. And in my case, I had read a book called Bright Boulevard, Bold Dreams by Donald Bogle, who's a Black film historian. And in that book, he basically talks about Black Hollywood, but Black Hollywood as it incorporated the ecosystems of Los Angeles for Black people in the 20s on up through the 50s. So it was about people trying to break into Hollywood as performers, but also about people who worked as maids and butlers and drivers for Hollywood celebrities, white Hollywood celebrities. It was about people in the community who owned restaurants and bars. It was about the Black newspapers that, gave news of the Black community in Los Angeles and nationally, right? So you learned about all these different people. And they also used to have what they call speakeasies. There were people who would, after hours, after the clubs shut down, after the restaurants shut down, after the bars shut down, would host like parties at their house where they would cook and have people come through and sing and entertain. And, my idea came from, it germinated from that. But what I wanted to incorporate also is not just what was going on Central Avenue at that time, but also what was going on nationally for Black people. Because the Black community, even though there's a Black community in every city, in every state, there is a connectedness. Even though there might be different ways of dressing, there might be different customs, different slang, it's still one big community, and what affects me here in Los Angeles will impact somebody in Harlem or somebody in DC or somebody in Boston. That's just the way it is. So I wanted to bring in the interconnectedness of the Black community into the piece, and that's where I came up with the idea to incorporate the Montgomery bus boycott that was going on in 1956 in Montgomery, Alabama, and tie in that Central Avenue corridor history in Los Angeles and use the speakeasy as a means of the people in Los Angeles getting involved in that boycott in Montgomery. How was I able to extend the themes and elongate the play from the short audio piece? Pretty simple, because it was all in my mind. I had always kind of seen what the extension would be. So in the audio play, it all takes place inside a house on 42nd Place off of Central Avenue in South Central Los Angeles. But based on what the story is, which is the wife, Bird Ivy, and Daddy August, who's a local bar owner in South Central, coming together to hatch a plan to run speakeasies in rich areas of the city, make money, and send that to Montgomery. I knew that ultimately we would need to see what happens when they go to Beverly Hills to run a speakeasy, because it's a situation that's fraught with tension, right? 1956, Black people didn't just move around Beverly Hills or Bel Air or Malibu or any wealthy area. right? You were taking chances at night after hours. So I was able to just bring that into the second act, basically, and go to them and show them how they operated, how the speakeasy operated, and the things that would go on inside that estate in Beverly Hills. You know, what James Baldwin called the soft racism of liberalism, right? They're going to a speakeasy in a rich area of the city. Obviously, the people there are fine with these people coming to their home, right? So there's a comfort level. There's a comfort level with the culture, with Black culture, within this estate in Beverly Hills, within this white enclave of basically what other people, their neighbors might say are troublemakers or liberal people, you know, people who involve themselves in other cultures and everything like that. But even amongst those people, you still have certain ways, certain racial soft racism, not intentional, maybe not intentional, but racism by virtue of not knowing, or by virtue of just being a person in this country who comes up in this country, and it's kind of osmosis, right? You get certain attitudes about certain things, and you look at things a certain way, because you've basically been trained. You've been trained up to think these things about other people, or not think things about other people. So, what is the story arc of Speakeasy? Basically, a man comes home named Leon Ivy from a sojourn in Paris. He's a writer, and he left South Central LA and America so he could write his novel. And he comes back with a book deal a year later. And when he returns home to South Central, he finds his wife, Bird, a different woman than the woman he left. And she has a whole thing with Daddy August, who's a bar owner in South Central. And like, as I said, they are running speakeasies to raise money to support the Montgomery bus boycott in Alabama. And Leon is none too happy about that or the changes that's been made in Bird since he's been gone. Bird has basically stepped into herself as a woman, as a human being, and is finding her power. And Leon comes home to this, and that tension. And then also we go to show what they do in Beverly Hills and what that speakeasy is, and how that incorporates what they're trying to do for the Black community in a broader sense. Whereas Leon is a writer and he writes about it. He writes about racism, and he fights with ideas. And it's the whole juxtaposition of how do you fight oppression? Do you fight it with ideas, with the mind? Do you fight it through direct action, where you hatch plans and you work schemes, however you have to do it in order to raise money and do the things you need to do in order to protest effectively? Like, what's the right answer? And so we go through Beverly Hills and we see what happens in Beverly Hills, which, you know, some things are predictable, some things aren't predictable. But in the end, Leon and Bird come to a type of agreement on how to move forward. So the main themes of Speakeasy are how to fight back effectively. What's the best means of fighting back? Are the means of fighting back in the streets, protests, supporting protests, doing things to raise money in order to foster protests? Is it with the mind? Is it putting forth ideas in order to change thought processes of people? You know, that's one theme. The other theme, as I've said, is soft racism. It's like racism where the person might not even realize that they're saying something offensive, or that they hold a certain viewpoint that's rooted in racial stereotypes. And also man to wife, you know, or man to woman. What's her agency? You know, what's her value? What does he perceive as her value? You know, what is his role? What is her role? What is a marriage? You know, all of those things. Like, how much selflessness does it take to be with another person? How much selfishness does it take to realize what you need to realize as your own human being? So there's a lot of different things going on within the play. The actors and directors of Speakeasy. Bernadette Speaks is the director. She also directed the short audio play. And I've worked with Bernadette on other pieces of mine where she was directing my reading. Excellent, excellent director. I met her at the Fringe Festival years ago. I saw a piece that she directed called Villain, which was about police brutality and the ramifications of it on both sides, within a police family and within a marriage. Bernadette's excellent. She's also an actor. She's been on All American and different TV shows and movies throughout the years. The cast, I have two of the cast members back from the audio play. Lloyd Roberson Jr. playing Leon Ivy and Bernard Addison playing Daddy August. We have a new bird for this reading, and that's Cherish Monique Duke, who lately was in Seven Guitars out at a Noise Within Theater Company. She's an excellent actress, and another person who people in the theater community here in Los Angeles would know her work. Jocelyn Town and Adam Smith played the Delanes, the couple from Beverly Hills who host the Speakeasy, and all TV and theater actors, you know, people you've seen their faces. Really, really actors who go deep. They're performers who really open themselves up and bring forth character in realistic and exalted ways. I think people will really enjoy them as performers. First, I want them to be entertained. I mean, that's why they come, right? People come to see movies, TV, theater, listen to music. They want to be entertained. So hopefully, job number one is complete. You know, when they hear when they hear the play, they'll be entertained by what happens in the play. But beyond that, which is always my goal, is the beyond that. I really want people to just think about where they stand as a human being. You know, what looks familiar to you? What doesn't look familiar to you? Are you somebody who, you know, has some experience within a marriage? And does it make you reconsider some things maybe you've done or haven't done? You know, how you've acted or not acted? Are there changes you can make? Are there changes you might want to make going forward to make things better or make yourself better or help your spouse be better? In terms of race, like I said, are you somebody who you recognize on that stage, like this soft racism? You're a person, you're a liberal, you know, you vote for liberal progressive candidates, you send money for charities, you support all types of different organizations that support all types of different communities and endeavors in the United States. So you would think of yourself as somebody who's an ally, as a person who's open-minded. You don't have a racist bone in your body. But when you hear the play, is that all the way true? You know, maybe do you have some attitudes that you didn't realize you had, or maybe that you didn't realize would be offensive to someone, that are rooted in the history of this country? I mean, it's hard to grow up in this country and escape race, to escape class. You know, we're going through a major thing in this country now with haves and have-nots, right? Where you have literally a small segment of people with so much of the wealth. And there's even people who would be considered rich at one point are now middle class people. You know, you make a couple $100,000 a year, you're like middle class now. Like a couple $100,000 is a lot of money, you know. But now it's not really. So if you're making $40,000 or $30,000 a year, you're kind of impoverished, you know. So I just want people to really look at themselves always. Is there anything in the story that that resonates with you personally? You know, not just, yeah, I can see that from those people. Yeah, I see that behavior from my neighbor and his wife, you know. Or, yeah, I had a uncle who, yeah, he was cool, but then he would say these things, you know. I don't want people to look at it that way. I want them to look at it from personally, from you. Who are you? And do you recognize yourself in anything that happens in the play? What am I looking forward to when I hear the reading of this play? Really, I'm looking for, just from a creative standpoint, are the threads making sense? Is the dialogue as effective as it needs to be? Are the characters as well drawn as I thought they were? Are people just listening to the audience reaction? Are they resonating with certain characters over other characters? Are they resonating with certain situations over other situations? You know, is the totality of the piece coming through effectively just through the words? Because that's what theater is. Theater is the word. So are the things that are taking place in the play, the dialogue between different people, is that effective? And is it clear where people are and where people are not within the story of the play? Feedback is important because it really gives you an indication for the first time in a public setting how people related to the work, right? Because as a writer, is solitary. Nobody can really help you do it. You sit there and you cobble together, you get an inspiration, and then you start cobbling together the story in whatever way you cobble it together. Some people just start writing, like me. Some people outline everything first and then go off of that paradigm. And then some people do a mixture. But basically, you have an idea, you get inspired, and you write the story. And then you get notes from other people who are like you, right? So you go to other writers, you go to dramaturgs, you go to people who are directors, actors, you get notes from them. Maybe you have like a reading or two internally. Like I at Antaeus, we had a couple readings of my play internally with actors, not directed, but just cold readings. And then you get feedback on that. But the public reading is the biggest deal because that's who the play is for. So for the first time, people who don't know you, who have maybe no idea about the creative process of a play, will get a chance to hear it. And then you'll get that feedback. You'll get that honest thought from somebody who's not a writer. They haven't done it before. They don't know how difficult it was to produce it. They don't know the ins and outs of act breaks and scene outs and all of those type of things. They just hearing a story, and this is what I think about the story I just heard, whatever that is. And that is invaluable because it'll tell you if you're on the right track as the writer. As I said before, are things clear? Do they understand what happened? How do they relate to this character? How do they relate to the other character? How do they relate to people, those characters together? So it's the first time people who have no skin in the game of creating theater, but are just consumers, get their input. Theater is communal. And theater, I believe, at its best, not only entertains, but teaches us about ourselves, shows us where we are in the world, right? Artists are reflectors of the times. They're reflectors of history. They're reflectors of what's possible in the future. And when you support theater, you are supporting the evolution of humanity, basically. I mean, I know it sounds grand, but that's what it is at its root, is not only this performance, but what this performance is saying, what the piece is saying, what the audience is getting from it, and what the audience is reflecting back to the artist. Shakespeare wrote about class and race, and that was in the 1600s. And we're still talking about those very same things. It's humanity is what theater is. And so when you support theater, you are supporting an honest evaluation of what our times are for the future generations. And you're supporting the historical knowledge that you might not have or other people might not have. And you're supporting possibilities of the future, all within the work that is done in the theater, from the writers to the directors to the actors. Hey, my name is Khari Wyatt, playwright of Lab Results Reading Series, Speakeasy. For the Lab Reading Series, it's my play, Friday, April 1st at 8 p.m. Then you have Asia Houston's play here on Saturday, April 2nd. Sean Abbott's play, Ghost Bicycle, Saturday at 8 p.m. on April 2nd. Steve Apostolina's play, Killer, on Sunday, April 3rd. I believe that's at 2 p.m. And then Deb Height's play, Cycle Forward, Monday night, April 4th at 8 p.m. All of these, I've heard all of these plays. I've seen them all developed. some very quality work and some great themes. I think the audience will get a lot out of it. So I would love you to come see my play April 1st, but I really want you to also go on Antaeus.org, go to the plays and events and tickets tab, and you can read about all the other plays that are being read and support those plays as well if you can.